I can't exactly do a normal intro with that thumbnail, right? So I just want to say, before I get eaten up by the piranhas in the Uma Musume community, that I do not think Oguri is Big E. If you've been living under a rock, it is a reference to this thumbnail right here. In fact, I actually do really like Oguri. And I did want to replace him with someone more PG, but ultimately I couldn't think of anything that landed as well. So I'm just going to trust that we can all take jokes like adults. But anyway, this is a CM guide, so let's get to business. CM15, the Cancer Cup, will be a medium race on the Hanshin 2200 meter track. It will be right-handed with cloudy weather, good ground, and in the summer. Yes, that means Spring Runner is now officially disabled. Also, I did say good ground, not firm ground. Firm course menace does not work. Wet conditions works on good ground. There are 2 downhills and 2 uphills on this map towards the beginning and the end, meaning high power and width is more important than usual, so this CM will be a real test of if you can hit those stat thresholds. The late race excel zone is on the 3rd corner here, which means that the final corner or straight skills will not be suitable for accelerations. Basic stat requirements are as follows: max speed or close to it, same goes for power and width. The stamina requirement is kind of high this time, being around 850 stamina to sustain a full spurt, higher for front runners, lower for late surgers. This is another track where the downhill makes surviving easy, but spurt rate more important, since your Uma will not know she has enough stamp to finish the race because she can't see that downhill ahead. That means that Radiant Star is not a great failsafe since it can activate too late to give you enough stamp for your spurt, and stamp skills that you want to make sure that they are mid-race or earlier to avoid that from happening. As per usual, I have a basic tier list on screen right now for you guys. Keep in mind it does not show every Uma Musume and prioritizes key meta threats. If your Oshi is not here, try to force them into the front or late positions since those have easiest access to the acceleration skills for this track. If their kit absolutely cannot run those, I will still include a section for all running styles, so do not worry about that yet. And of course, at the top, Christmas Oguri Cap is there because her unique works on basically every medium track. 777s allows her to trigger Festive Miracle at the right time to snag a bit of speed carryover and a bunch of excel. There will be a section specifically for her separate from the Pace Chaser section at the end of the video, so we'll leave it at this for now. Saiyan Sky and Summer Marzinski are next because, well, fronts are just never bad, just angling, right? Marzinski can also get speed carryover by proccing her unique off 777s. You will likely not have time to reach the full effectiveness of this carryover, given how close 777 is to the late race, but that is still something to note. Right below are the other 2 meta fronts and the 2 Meijiro Dobers. Not much to say about the other fronts, I just bumped them down a tier because the existence of Oguri means the win harder horses that guarantee more excel or carryover like Saiyan Sky and Marzinski aren't as likely to get beat down by Dominator. Regular Meijiro Dober has one of the few excels that work on this track, being Moving Past and Beyond, requiring her to be in 6th or 5th place and not have been rushed. However, the fact that her innate gold suck, place searchers are gambling for a position, and the final straight is sort of on the short side at 350 meters, she cannot really go any higher than this in my opinion. Camping Dober, who will also come out for the CM, is pretty much made almost exclusively for this track. Her unique is a super specific proc condition of being in the mid-pack on a downhill right before the late race, and with more than 500 meters remaining. Luckily that weird condition is met, allowing her for pretty powerful speed carryover. She also has better goals than the other Dober, but unfortunately for her, this means that getting movement past beyond means fishing from low affinity grandparent sparks during inspiration. The last tier is just generalist late surgers and end closers. Special Week has a powerful unique that can win games. Measure Orion's unique functions similarly to Dober's, but is locked to 6th place, making her a little bit more gambly. Ayano has innate no stopping me, and so does Kawakami Princess, and Satano Diamond's unique and right-handed demon skill are both very good on this track. Gold Chip is the only end closer I put here, since ends have to push up and try to steal away late surger accelerations, and Gold Chip is the most well suited to that, coming built with her unique and innate Uma Stan. But in reality, any other end closer will work very similar to Gold Chip. Now, let's go over the acceleration skills for every running style that you will need to win. First, for any style, we have No Stopping Me, and Ignited Spirit Power and Guts. Yes, that is all. If your Uma does not have good acceleration options, aka is a pace chaser, do consider these gambling options because winning otherwise will be very, very difficult. And on to frontrunners. Although they don't do the same thing as other acceleration skills, I do want to mention groundwork and taking the lead are both still very, very important. And as for real acceleration skills, it is just angling and scheming as per usual. Do not get redshift or unrestrained. They can technically proc at the end of the acceleration zone to give you value, but you only get that value from the late excel if you don't hit your angling scheming, in which case you probably lost the game anyway. Spend your second inheritance slot on something better like Barcarola of Blessings or Kiss for Courage or just any mid-leg speed skill. Stacking mid and late race speed skills is your way to outrun the Ogres. Next, Pace Chasers. I guess you have neck and neck. Yeah, it's really bleak. You could get angling and hope to hit lucky pace, or you could go all out gambling with NSM and neck, etc. Both is probably the best thing you could do if you want to win with a pace chaser that is not Christmas Ogre. Or maybe you can run double front and hope the lobby spacing will leave you in 5th for Dober's Unique. Speaking of Dober's Unique, next up we have Late Chargers. Moving past and beyond and let's pump some iron, make the sweet spot number 6 for the 0.4 acceleration, and are probably going to be your most consistent acceleration skills. If you also want to throw on gambling skills to try and beat Oguri, be my guest, on your left and from the brink as well as their white versions, can do just that if you get lucky. Last up are the enclosers, which as I mentioned earlier need to just steal those excels away from Late Chargers to win. Spurt is disabled on this track, so your main way to win is to push up mid-race in order to get to that let's pump some iron and moving past and beyond. From the brink is another consideration that can work here if you're lucky. And this is just my monthly reminder to you all to buy as many speed skills as you can. I don't want to list everything that could work on this track, obviously, but just get corner skills, straight skills, Uma stand, playtime's over. Just get anything that has velocity that works on this track. If it increases velocity, it will help you. The more skills you have on your opponents, the more likely you are to win. Green speed skills and medium S are actually less important on this track compared to a lot of the others because of the short final straight, making that higher speed cap a bit less impactful. This does not mean you should not go for them, but it is definitely more reasonable to cope here if you just get a great one and miss the medium S, or you don't get your right-handed or whatever it is you're looking for. And of course, up next is the Christmas Ogre section. I put it off for a while. Your trigger for this course is of course 777s. That means that you want 2 other consistent mid-leg recoveries for this. The easiest course of action is just to stick with pace and go with Gourmand and Stamina to Spare or Preferred Position. Stamina to Spare is the most consistent excel. Preferred Position requires you to be in 5th place or higher. You can also just get your second recovery by inheriting Operation Cacao from Valentine Mihono Bourbon, which has the same condition as Preferred Position, at just 4th or higher instead. Corner and straight recoveries are less consistent, but if you have no other options, then you could cope with them, I guess. Oguri can also be forced into other positions like front, late, or end to make use of their acceleration skills. Granted, you get the other recovery skills required for that running style, but in my personal opinion, it is not really worth the trouble of going through the inheritance sparks and getting the other recoveries you need, especially since the track is just good for frontrunners like Pace Chasers to begin with. And I did a more mathematical analysis on Radiant Star in my last video, and why I think it is not a bad gamble to take, but I'll shorten it here. The chance of Radiant Star actually misfiring and messing up your Festive Miracle early is actually way lower than the chance that you miss out on one of 3 recoveries anyway, even at 1200 wits. And I'm not saying that you always should be buying the skill, it's just that if you have extra skill points and you pick it up, you aren't throwing the game by it. Don't be worried about that. And that's going to be the main part of the video done. As always, here are a couple of my builds on screen now. I admittedly am kind of burnt out with the Trackblazer CMs, so I don't want to redo this Ogre for medium S. And I also don't have a third ace because I'm waiting for Camping Dober to drop. Also, not running Dom because I just think it's kind of a slop skill. Especially since, in 2 more CMs we're going to have one where Dom is almost mandatory and I'm probably going to be running it there. And in case you're alarmed by that revelation, I might as well just go over the basics right here. This is going to be another track where Oguri has 2 triggers for her unique that give perfect excel and carryover. Plus, it is a dirt track which makes it really difficult to build other Umas to fight her off. And Summer Golchi will be out, which means that you can inherit her unique to proc Dominator twice per Uma, so that's going to be for dominators if you're being double dom. And there's a lot more I could say about it, but I want to leave it at that and make that video when the time comes. So let's do our best to collectively not think about it and hopefully make this CM a bit more interesting than that one will be. And you know, at the time of recording this, I think I have 482 subscribers, which is actually a pretty significant leap from a couple weeks ago. So thank you guys a ton for all the support. The more competitive side of Umumusume has honestly been really helpful and welcoming compared to the other parts of it. So it's just really cool to see you all be so willing to share information and builds and stuff in the comments. Okay, but seriously, this has been going for too long, so see ya.